Matthew 5:13-16. You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. Now, in this passage, we hear something about light. First, about saltiness, which we'll get to. Then, but first, let's talk about the light. It says, you are the light of the world. This is Jesus talking to his disciples. Now, I'm in a dark room, as you can see, so you've probably been like, where is this guy? We've never met him. But what I wanted to show you was how important different lights are, and how important it is to let our light shine for Christ. Now, you can see me just a little bit now. So what I've done is I got some lights, and the closer I get, these little lights can light up the room. It's amazing about how these lights, when I hold them close and walk in this dark room, I'll be able to see everywhere that I'm going. But it's still not terribly bright, is it? You can still barely see me, especially when I'm away from the camera. So now, let's light something that might give us a little bit more light and see what happens. So now I've lit a candle, and as it slowly comes, it adds a little bit more light. Now, this one adds way more light than those other lights. But what happens if I get up and I go and turn on our light? Wow, what a difference that light makes. The big lights, that when that comes on, those are so much brighter than the first two lights I lit. Now, what I'm trying to illustrate is the fact that Jesus is the light of the world. He is the one who gives life and gives light. But he has also trusted us to hold that light and to share it and not hide it, but to go out and share who he is and the Father in heaven, as it says. Now, we'll come back to that in just a second. But I want to talk about this first part, about salt. You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? Now, to kind of illustrate this, how many of you guys like salt and vinegar chips? Me being from the States, not really my favorite, but if I begin to lick all this off, if I were to lick off all the salt on this crisp right here, lick off all that flavor, if I were to do that to every single one of the crisps in a bag of crisps, and then handed it to somebody and said, these are salt and vinegar, and they were to taste it, not only would they get my germs from licking it, but they would have no flavor. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever cooked or baked before, but to actually add salt to something that's dry, like a crisp that is dried out after being licked and then left in a bag for a while, salt won't stick to it anymore. It is very hard to get salt to stick to it. So then it will lose its flavor, it would lose its saltiness. And then what good is that? I mean, for the crisp, it'll still give you some calories and give you some energy, and it can still provide something for you, but it doesn't have the same flavor as salt and vinegar like these crisps were labeled as. Somebody would try them and be like, oh, this is rubbish, and they'd throw it away. It would have no use to them. So what Jesus is saying to us, his disciples, we are his disciples. And what he is saying is that he is asking us to go out and be the salt, to provide flavor, to provide something exciting that is the Father in heaven, that is Jesus to those around us. The light that he has given us through Jesus is for us to share. It's not for us to hide under a bushel. It's not for us to go and just say, okay, fine, I believe in Jesus, that's it, this is only for me. And you look at the word and you study it and you read it and you pray and you do all these things, and they're just so focused on yourself. That's not what this is saying. That's not what Jesus is calling us to do. So if that's not what he's calling us to do, what is he calling us to do? Well, very clearly, he is calling us to be the salt, to not just be something that people want to throw away or to get rid of. He wants us to be the light of the world, to reflect him and his glory, so that people will know his Father who is in heaven, our Father who is in heaven. They are one and the same. It's incredible. So how do we be that light? How do we be that salt? Especially in such a crazy mixed up time as this, where you can't even, give somebody a hug or to mix different households according to the government. It's really hard. And many of you probably are stuck at home only with your family. You can't go see your friends. You don't have the freedom to come and go as you would like. So it's very difficult. So what does it look like to be somebody to still share that light? Well, this actually says, it gives light to the house. So people put light a lamp and put it under a basket. No, they put it on a stand so that it may light the whole house. So where is our starting place? First, it's with us personally. We start with us and our heart and our relationship with God. Then it goes out into our house. The first place I want to encourage you to go and be the light and be the salt is in your own home. That has no age limit on how you look after those in your house and share Christ. For some of you who don't have as much freedom as others, that looks like doing more chores, showing your parents that you care. That looks like, taking care of your siblings if you have them, or doing some extra chores, helping with the washing or the dishes, or listening to your parents. And you may not like it because, let's be honest, we love to be able to have people to do life with, and we may not be able to do everything on our own, and it's nice to have that company. But what does it look like to serve like Jesus did? I bet you if you were to ask your parents how you can help each day, it's just something you can do, something simple, that will be so incredible, and they will wonder, who are you? Are you really my child? Because you're wanting to serve and do something generous for them. And so I want to encourage you that first it starts in the house. How do you serve your home? How do you be the light for those around you? And when you get to talk with your family over Zoom, Skype, if you're able, then what does it look like to say, how can I be praying for you? What needs do you have? And not to try and tell your own stories, but to ask more questions than to listen. Now, in our home, this is actually a really big home. We have 8 people living in this house, and it is me, my wife, and our son. Our son is 4.5, and we do a lot for each other. We're constantly helping to see who can help do the dishes, who can help clean up, clean the bathrooms, hoover the floors, do all these chores that need to be done in order to show kindness and compassion. If somebody's had a rough day, we might make a meal for them to say, hey, I heard you had a rough day. Here's something that might help you out a little bit. And that's something that we can do. So find ways in your own house to serve, to be the light, to share Christ. Christ was a servant. He did not come to be served, but to serve. And in your home, that has no boundaries. COVID can't take that away from you. So spend time with your family. Enjoy it, even when they might drive you mad. But when they do drive you mad, ask God, how can I use this time to serve my family? How can I seek you? Please be in this situation. And so that's my first encouragement in that way. Now, if you're a little bit older and you have access to get to know your neighbors, it's incredible to see if your parents would help you out to see what needs are in your community, what needs are around you. This is one of the ways that we in our house and with Youth with a Mission here in Liverpool love to do. If we're going to the shop and we see one of our neighbors out at their car, hey, can I get you anything? Do you need anything? We have made food for some of our neighbors who have been having to self-isolate because of the virus. We have taken gift packets to different people. We're even looking at trying to make cards. And this is just with door to door. This is the few houses that are around our place, and we want to do what we can to be the light. to say things like, well, I hope you have a blessed day. God bless. Here you go. And to show the light of Jesus, that there's something more out there. Now, coronavirus, I don't think is anything to be afraid of because we have Jesus. But at the same time, there's wisdom. So we want to respect others. So one of the best ways to show the light of Christ is actually to learn to love others more than you love yourself. If you don't agree with wearing a mask, don't want to, but the person you're about to engage with cares a lot, wear a mask. Do what those around you are asking you to do, not because you want to, but because it shows others that you care. These are some simple ways. And the other thing I want to say is an incredible practical way is find out and see if there's any volunteer opportunities within your community. What is your church doing? Are there things that you want to talk with you and others in your church leadership about starting? Maybe there are people alone and isolated in your community that would love to have some handwritten cards sent to them, or maybe just somebody even offering to go get some food packages. You know, that shows so much love when we're willing to serve. And at this time, I think that we are called to serve more than ever before. It's a time to get to know God in all this downtime. So do that. Learn who he is. Learn what it means that it's our Father in heaven and who is Jesus. Read through the Bible and study it. But then go out and find ways to apply it. So, yeah, as I've said, you know, you are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the earth. We are called to reflect Christ. You are called to reflect Christ. So I pray that you will be able to do that. And that, you know, it's really cool because the more lights you end up getting, then the brighter things get. So the more that you can start being a light to get other people to join and bring light together. If I were to have 1 million of these fairy lights, it would light up this entire room. It would, 100%, and I wouldn't need the big light. So get people around you to partner with you, but don't be afraid to do it yourself, because usually you need one light to start it all. So yeah, I hope that this was encouraging. And if you have any questions about what it means to be salt of the earth, what it means to be light, and how to go about it in your own community, then please let me know.